When you do come in to speak to some of these Georgia Southern students, are these things that they are aware of, or are they thinking of that extra money to do traveling or for distribution, things like that? They just want to make the film. It's sort of like this rock star life, and it sounds fun.
Well, here's the thing. It doesn't matter if you're a Georgia Southern student or a UCLA student or a NYU student. No college student, well, that's maybe not true, most college students do not think about the totality of the picture, because when they're in film school or when they're learning how to tell a story or whatever it is they're doing, they get taught the mechanics of it. They get taught this is a 3-act structure. This is how you compose a frame. This is how you run the camera. This is how you turn the sound on. And you learn these technical things, but no one, and most schools do not teach the practical elements of what it means to be a film professional. And that's a very, very different distinction. And that's something that unfortunately most of our schools let students learn once they get out into the real world. And it's something that should be taught in our film schools before they ever leave college. Because if they want to do that, they need to understand how to see their career as a trajectory, not a short-term thing.
Why do you think that's not taught? I mean, that's an excellent point. Why do you think that the technical aspects, why do you think that the non-technical, I can't even say this, why do you think that that's not taught? And if you were to start a class in that vein, how would you teach it? What would be part of the curriculum?
Sure. Well, I think it's not taught because most people in academia haven't worked in the real world for a long time. There's nothing wrong with that inherently, because most professors, that is their life calling and their passion, and that's fine. But it's very hard for you to talk about making a living when you've made your living teaching for decades, right? So if I were to teach a class about how to make films and how to make a career making films outside of college, I would start out with finding things that are complementary. One of the first things that has happened with the advent of the internet and with the advent of all of these new platforms that are emerging, at the beginning people thought they could make videos and they could edit videos on their own. But something people have discovered with photography, with video, with graphics, is that if you're not experienced and don't know what you're doing, you tend to not do a very good job. So people now are paying money for people to make videos and tell stories about their brands, about their ideas, about their concepts, and give them the opportunity to hire people to do it. Those are great ways, I think, to start out as a filmmaker, because you may not be telling the narrative or documentary story you want to tell, but you are learning how to tell a story and how to tell it effectively for someone else, which is an excellent way to not only pay your bills, to do the thing that you got your education in or that you aspire to be doing, as opposed to working at Starbucks or driving for Uber. You're actively making something that is a story, whatever that story is. And what that does is, if you save your money, you can run off to go make your short films and run off to go make your documentaries, because you now have more experience working with someone. So when you go to make your feature film and you're answering not only to a producer or a studio or a financier, you're learning to work with clients as a filmmaker, and then you're able to understand the entire matrix of the people that you have to work with professionally.
Is there a place that a filmmaker could go to learn these things?
I think there isn't a specific place, unfortunately. I think it comes in real life. I think that comes with experience, trial and error. That in some ways is something that I guess is a good thing that's not taught, because if you did, even if you were taught how to do all of those things, and while I think some of those skills would be very helpful for people to learn in the classroom, life in many ways is always the best experience. And so I think that when you figure out how to do something the wrong way, it makes you appreciate and learn how to do things better the right way.